Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my top 10 players at VCT Champions. I did top 20 for Tokyo, and I think I did top 20 for Lock-In, but those videos were like really long, and I've already recorded the whole of this video, and it's still like 20 plus minutes. Um, so I want to like keep the length on the video down, but I will still be showing my full top 20 list at the end, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I'll also be doing my pick'ems soon, and also I'll be reviewing some Reddit hot takes. I just posted a thread over there as of today. This will be coming out a few days after that, though. Um, so, yeah, make sure to stay tuned for all that. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff helps me out. Um, and yeah, stay tuned for future content for the off season, even. One other thing that I wanted to mention in this video, I will be doing recaps for every game of the Champions playoffs. I'm not going to do it for the group stage because for the beginning, I think it's like I'm going to my grandparents from like the 6th until I forget when I'm coming back. I'm going to help them with stuff around the house. I don't really care to share too much specifics about that, but I won't be able to record those videos. But I'm going to be posting recaps of every game on TikTok. Um, Link to that is in the description below. Make sure to go check that out. Follow me on there, whatever. I'll also be live tweeting all the games on my Twitter, so go follow me down there. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. And at number 10 here, I have Shing, who going into Tokyo wasn't really on these lists. I don't think he was on mine. He might have been like super low on it, on my top 20 list at least. And I mean, I don't really blame people for that. He did not look amazing at Champions nor at Lock-In, and in Pacific he was kind of mid. Like he wasn't amazing, but towards the end he was definitely a piece in Paper X on why they went on that run to win. Um, and I feel like he's going to continue that form, at least somewhat in this team. I know he got a lot of resources sent his way to support him, specifically in this team now, just because they didn't have something at Tokyo, and he had to step up. And I think supporting him was a big reason why they got as far as they did, and he just went crazy with that support. Obviously, he's not going to get as many resources sent his way this time because something is going to be at Champions, but I still think it'll lead to him looking very, very good as I've rated him 10th here. And then at number 9 here, I have our first Fnatic player on the list, Chronicle. And obviously, he's going to be a bit lower in terms of the Fnatic players, but this guy is insane. He's the first player to win 2 international trophies and also the first player to win 3 international trophies. Um, he's been a part of two of the greatest teams of all time, and he's ultra flexible. He can play multiple different roles for this team. He plays anything from the Viper to like the Rays on Split, which is ultra valuable. And I don't know, I don't have too much to say. Like he does all of this while fragging as well, and just being a huge part on why this team is this good. But there are bigger pieces to this team, as you'll see later in this video. And then at number 8 here, I have Les, who I know this might be high for some people. I rated him number 1 for Masters Tokyo, and I still hold the opinion that he's a better overall Valorant player than Ospas. Um, I just think this guy is ultra consistent. He's not had a bad like. I mean, he's probably had bad games that I don't remember, but he hasn't had a bad like tournament since probably Copenhagen last year, which is kind of insane. I mean, like every player has their bad tournaments, and those were just when Les was like coming up. And I think some people are underrating the way he played at Tokyo just because Loud was losing. I thought he was the only player that really played up to his standard at that event. Um, Obviously, I can see people disagreeing with this. I mean, on this list, I think people could just swap Les and Ospas, and I wouldn't be too mad by it, but honestly, it's just my opinion that Les is a better player just because of the value he brings to this team. And obviously, it's not factored in this list, but he also is rumored to have been doing some like IGLing for this team. I mean, in this specific game against Energy and this specific map, Sadak let him call a little bit. And I thought the calling was very, very good on this map. So, like, I hope you guys can see the thought process here. Whether or not you agree with it is a completely different story, but he's just ultra consistent. And I mean, he and Ospas are the two rocks of this team. And obviously, they're the two players that are causing the internal issues with this team, two players that are disagreeing. But if they can work that out, this is the best duo in Valorant. And it's not remotely close. Like, even Fnatic, I don't think they have a specific duo that is better than these two. And then at number 7 here, I have Something, who was supposed to go to Masters Tokyo last time, but did not make it due to visa issues, as pretty much everybody knows at this point. Um, he was arguably the best player of VCT Pacific, and I think I would have given him the MVP had he not come in mid-season. I rated him originally before it was known that he wasn't going. I rated him 12th going into that event, but I have a bit more confidence in him this time, just because of the run that Paper X had just made at Tokyo without him. Um, I think it's pretty likely that he looks very good in this tournament. There is a chance that it starts off a little rough for him, at least in groups, but that should be fine for this team as long as they're able to beat like Peru either one or two times, depending on if they win that opening match, which they should. Um, this guy is just unreal, man. Like, there's absolutely potential for him to just show up and dominate everybody and just become the best player in the world. And I wouldn't really be shocked if that happened. But I'm just gonna rate him 7th just because I'm not 100% sure if that's gonna happen. But if it does, I'm right there with everybody. I think I would immediately rate him as the number 1 player in the world if he plays up to that standard. Obviously, I'm a little bit slower to just instantly crown somebody the best player in the world or a team the best team in the world off of one event or a few games or something like that. So I think saying that is pretty high praise from coming from me. And yeah, this guy's just a nutcase, man. And then at number 6 here, a player that everybody told me I overrated last time, and I thought he had a pretty good tournament despite his stats. Crashes. Um, I thought just this guy's clutch, this I don't know what to call it, at this tournament was almost unmatched. I mean, obviously you got Leo, you got I mean pretty much all of the Fnatic players. Les, I thought was decent in the clutch. I mean, he wasn't like winning clutches, but he was making them relatively close. Um, Off the top of my head, I can't remember who was like absurdly clutch at that event, but you could argue that that was an off tournament for him, and even at that point, he was still one of the best initiators in the world, probably the second best in my opinion, behind Leo. Obviously, I did rate him as the best initiator in the world coming into the event, which was a little bit troll from me because Leo didn't look that great in EMEA, but I'll talk about it later. He just does not die when they go into lands. So I mean, to talk about Crashies a little bit more, I just think every time this guy shows up to land, similar to Leo, he just takes it up a notch. I mean, he was arguably a top 3 player in VCT Americas. I probably would have had him in like the top 5, not quite there. But whenever this guy's on Sova, he just delivers. His Sky is one of the best, if not the best in the world. Um, he doesn't really play as much of like the other like flexible stuff, but he definitely has potential to do so. He did that last year for Optic. He even did that for Envy a little bit when he was on that org, I guess. It's the same team. Um, and yeah, I think he's definitely the best player on that roster, despite some people saying it's like Psalm, or I think some, especially EMEA fans, still believe that it's Artis, um, which I don't agree with. Um, and I think people are again going to call this overrating him. But his impact is not just seen in the stats. I know that's such like a cliche thing to say, um, but I think that really applies for Crashies. And then at number 5 here, I have the VCT Masters Tokyo MVP Alfir, the Turkish prodigy, wonder kid, whatever the hell you want to call him, the best Sentinel player in the world. Um, I think I made the mistake of, I mean, I don't think I know, I did make the mistake of rating him as the second best Sentinel player in EMEA behind Nats going into this tournament, and that was just wrong. Um, I mean, this tournament was by far his best tournament we've seen, especially at like a high like international level, I guess is the right word. Um, I mean, I'll just whenever I think of this tournament from him, I'll always think of the game against NRG on Bind where he was playing Cypher and he just walked up A short and just like deleted 3 people from NRG. And I mean that map specifically just defined the whole tournament for him. I mean, it was his first game and he just did nothing but continue that form. I mean, obviously the game I don't think the games are quite as impressive, but like they were still like top tier, like best Sentinel player in the world. He was just in unreal form. I don't think he'll keep up that level of like fragging power at champions, but it's hard to predict that he'll be too much worse than that, which is kind of crazy. Um, and yeah, this guy's insane. I don't think he's gonna get like worse. Like I think he's gonna do nothing but improve over his career, which just to think about that is insane. And yeah, Fnatic is really lucky to have him, and also Mini is the greatest scout in Valorant. I think I don't want to make this about coaches, but I think MCE is right up there with him at finding like lower level players and turning them into like stars in VCT. But I think Mini is just so good at finding like mid tier players and turning them into absolute superstars, which Alfier has absolutely become for this Fnatic team. And then at number 4, I have the new King of Hell, Demon One, who had an amazing Tokyo. I mean, he was just such a dominant duelist player, kind of confirmed himself as being one of the best duelists in the world. Um, and showed that like his America's like playoff run specifically wasn't just a flash in the pan. I mean, I know this is ranked, but this that knives clip was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Um, I think he's the best jet in the world right now. Not like the best opper or like the best duelist or anything. But I think he specifically his jet is the best in the world right now. Um, and I think after getting his first like big LAN out of the way, I think he's going to do nothing but get better at this tournament. Um, and yeah, I have him rated number 4. Some of these players ahead of him is projecting a little bit of improvement, um, or at least one of them is projecting improvement. And I think I almost considered rating him lower than this just because I don't think EG's going to do as well at champs as they did at Tokyo. And I think it'll make him look a little bit worse, but I do still think he'll come out of this tournament looking like the best jet in the world, barring maybe Aspas having a return to form and playing more jet. Um, so yeah, overall, just an unreal player. I mean, that shot is insane. And kind of really rejuvenized this EG team. Just playing, really just playing jet for them, and then also having some kind of flexibility and being able to play the Brimstone. And I do have some faith that he will be able to play this in the future as well. And then at number three here, and this might be high for some people, I have Kankan, who is the best opera in the world right now, and I don't even think it's remotely close. Um, I think he's an like there's an argument that he's the best opera of all time at this point, having been insane at Champions last year. Lock in, he was absurd. I mean, I firsthand as a 100 Thieves fan witnessed that him just ripping that team apart. And then at Tokyo, I mean, that was his big breakout tournament where everybody started to like notice exactly how good he is. And I do think that this guy is also a decent entry player. Um, he's not like Durka or Demon One level, but I do think he is just unbelievable still. Like, obviously, you want him opping, you want him like just walking down C long on Haven, maybe, for example. Obviously, I don't think there's a perfect example of him specifically doing that. But yeah, he's just an unreal player, and I think with EDG, I mean, I power ranked them. What was it, fourth? Um, and I think they're one of the true threats to Fnatic. Um, I think he's the main reason for that. I mean, I don't think he is the main reason for that. Just the way he plays is so not normal that it's gonna maybe throw Fnatic off and ruin their 3P. And I think if anybody's gonna do it, it has to be Kong Kong at that or Paper Rex. And yeah, that's why I have him at number three. And then at number two here, I have Durka, who is the duelist for the best team in the world. It's gonna immediately make him look good. I just think you have to put him in at least the top five. Um, like it's him like leading the pack for this team, and he was just playing Rays at Tokyo, um, and that's not even his best agent. Like he is a Jet player through and through, and if you're putting him on Rays, like it's not wasting his talent. Like he is still a top two Rays in the world, I'd say. I think like a little bit behind Jing, but it's extremely close. Um, and yeah, I think he's gonna get to play more Jet at this tournament. With Fnatic probably, I wouldn't say playing less of the race maps because they're still gonna try to play a lot of Lotus. They're still gonna try to play a lot of Fracture against teams not named EG. Uh, Still gonna try to play a lot of Split, all that kind of stuff, and Bind. Um, and then I'll just lead to him playing race on a lot of maps just because they are playing race maps. But if you get him opping more, I think he'll start to look like a top two player in the world, like he probably is. It's just more of him being set up in a scenario to look like that, which I think there's no way Durka doesn't look like a top 10 player in the world. And I think there are scenarios where some of these players below him don't, which is why I have him just safely at number two, just because I don't think if it doesn't go perfectly right, like if he's not this unbelievable like force at champions, I think it'll still look okay if he's at number two. And then at number one, I have Leo, who the Stone Cold Killer himself, the best clutch player in the world, the best initiator in the world, and in my opinion, the best player in the world. I doubted him going into Tokyo. I didn't think he was the best initiator in the world. I thought he looked okay online. I didn't think he would look in the same. Like I thought he would look better at Tokyo than he did online, but I didn't think it would be that much better. Um, but it absolutely was. This guy was unreal. He continued his lock in form where it just he could not die first. Um, and the first time he did it was I think the upper bracket final against EG, where it was literally a round where Jogamo looked like he was trying to specifically kill Leo first. And I'm not joking. If you want to go watch, I think it was the last round of the first half in that game. Um, I don't know. That's besides the point. I just think this guy is the pickup of the offseason in hindsight. And I don't think that can really be argued with. Um, yeah. He also has like pretty decent flexibility. He can play the breach, he can play the Sova, he can play the fade, all at an extremely high level. Most initiator players can't do that. Um, they have like one or two that they're not quite as good on. Um, but yeah, if you get this guy in the Sova, he's the best Sova in the world, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think Crashy's is in like the same conversation as him, but you can't like it's just Leo, and I have a hard time believing that he's not gonna be at least top three in like I don't know if the MVPs are decided by like a vote, but top three in MVP voting for this team. And so yeah, but that's my top 10. But here's my top 20. I just thought I'd share this with you guys. I'm not gonna really talk about 11 through 20 too much. I already kind of gave my reasoning for some of these players over these other players. I honestly think the top 10 is pretty solidified at this event. Um, but yeah, if you guys wanted a more like visual representation of it, here it is. Leo 1, Durka 2, Kong Kong 3, Demon 1 4, Alpha Year 5, Crashy 6, Something 7, Less 8, Chronicle 9, and Jing and number 10. Um, so yeah, if you guys want to take one final look at it, I'll leave it there for a little bit. Even though it's been on the screen the whole time, I don't know why I'm talking still. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and leave your comment below on who you think the top 10 or even top 20 if you want to players are at VCT Champions. And I'll see you guys in the next video for either, I don't know the order I'm going to put these out because I'm recording this before I'm putting some other videos out. But my pick'ems, which will be the day before the event, and my reviewing Reddit hot takes that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So stay tuned for all that kind of content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.